this offseason already has a bunch of storylines, right? First up, Dusty Baker set to return. You often see an older guy ride off into the sunset when he wins something. No, not Dusty Baker. And we should have seen it coming because he said, I feel a couple weeks ago, maybe a couple months ago, I don't want one World Series. I want two.
Yep.
Dusty Baker has signed a 1-year deal. He is coming back, returning to the Astros dugout. I love it. If Dusty Baker, one of the greatest to ever do it, wants to come back and he wins a World Series, you let him come back, and he is.
Yeah, it's the right move. He just, as you mentioned, he just won the World Series. In his press conference after they announced that he was coming back, he said, this is what I was born to do. Be around the game, coach the game. He also won't say that this is his, quote, last year, because he doesn't want to go into it thinking that this is the end. And I think there's a good life lesson there because it really makes you be present. Makes you be present in today, what you're doing. Yeah, you set goals for the end of the year, but you're not thinking too far past that because you're not going to be able to get there unless you focus all of your energy and time into what you're doing right here, right now in the present.
Beautiful.
And Dusty, words of wisdom from Dusty Baker. Not thinking about after this year, just going to do what I can do right here and hopefully win another World Series.
He's got a lot of words of wisdom.
I know.
He gives a lot of great speeches, and he's a World Series champion. He's coming back on a 1-year deal, and Dusty gets a lot of flack sometimes about his bullpen usage and the way he manages a pitching staff. But there's also a lot of credit due to the locker room rallying around a guy like that and how much they love him and compete their tails off for him. So not all managers can check off every single box and be perfect at all of them. Dusty Baker, I thought, did a good job in the playoffs with the way he managed that pitching staff. But, man, does the team love him. And he's coming back. So congratulations to Dusty and the Astros for running it back with the guy that led them. Another storyline, Edwin Diaz.
No, okay, now I'm going to stop.
I was going to let you go.
I know.
He's back. Signs the largest contract ever for a reliever. Largest contract ever. 5-year contract that runs through the 2027 season with an option for the 2028 season. $102 million for a closing pitcher that will come in and throw one inning, maybe a couple, maybe 3-4 times a week if you're winning games. Look, I love it. Pay the man. He was the best closer in baseball. He was the most dominant closer in baseball. He has the best entrance in all of baseball. By the way, don't think I'm letting you off the hook, Alex. You owe me playing Timmy Trumpets here in the studio.
We'll get back
to completion. That. I'm excited about it. Steve Cohen, the owner that pays billions of dollars for this team and will continue to pay until they win, and then probably after, tweets, "Sound the trumpets. It's official. Edwin Diaz deal is done." Love it. Good for him. Good for everybody because they do that walkout song right.
Get that money. I'm all about players getting it while they can. He deserves it. Mets would not be in the position where they were to get into the postseason, to have as many wins and save opportunities that they did without Edwin Diaz. And if they want to get there again in the future, they had to get this done.
Yep, absolutely. And last point that's already happened this offseason, some Shohei Ohtani news.
Yep.
He's not getting traded. The Angels and their GM, Perry Manassian, has said, we are not trading Shohei Ohtani. Is that the right move? Well, I think the answer is yes and no. Look, their owner, their team is in the midst of possibly changing ownership. A team is clearly more valuable with a guy like Shohei Ohtani on the roster.
The most valuable guy on your roster. Think about it.
Yeah.
Majority of their sponsor sales that you see around the stadium are all Japanese companies.
Alex, I go to the Angels are the easiest team for me to get to games, right? Because Dodger Stadium's a nightmare. And Angel Stadium is closer and massive parking lots. So I go to a lot of those games. When there is a Shohei Ohtani merchandise giveaway night, the stands are packed.
Sold out. Line out the door.
And once it gets to the second half of the year when there is not and they're out of contention, nobody's there.
Yeah.
I've never seen a player be more valuable to a franchise than what Shohei brings. I mean, yeah, like you mentioned, I went to Japan. I went to a Yakult Swallows game. Guess who's the prominent sponsor in Angel Stadium that you see everywhere? Yakult.
Yep.
It's everywhere. Japanese advertisements are everywhere. I mean, you're right. You're absolutely right. But he is not going to be traded. They announced. Shohei has said, and when he goes back to Japan, he does a press conference every year. One press conference. He said, this was not a good year.
No.
Now, the reason being because they're not winning baseball games. And he's been very vocal about, I just want to win.
Yep.
I'm sure he would love for that to be with the Angels. But if they're not going to win, he wants to win. And he deserves to win for what he's doing. He's missing out on MVP awards, most likely, because he's playing on a team that's not winning baseball games.
Yep.
Come on. Mike Trout, Shohei Ohtani, get him to the playoffs. The world needs it. We all need it. They're not trading him, which, would it be the right move if you want a winning organization sooner than later? Probably, because they've shown they can't win with the two greatest players on planet Earth. And who knows what you could get for Shohei Ohtani?
I mean, rebuild the whole farm system.
You could rebuild the whole farm system and your big league team.
Yep.
You should be able to. You could probably get multiple big league all-stars, future studs. But do I blame the Angels for not trading him? No. But to a certain degree, you have to wonder, well, if you don't show a willingness to win now in 1 year, you could see Shohei walk and get nothing.
It's a really complicated situation because obviously Artie's announced that he's looking to sell the team, right? But he's your biggest asset. So if you're selling the team to someone, they're going to want your biggest asset there.
Yeah.
But again, he's most valuable to you right now when you can get things in return for him.
Yep.
But then what if the new owner comes in, trades him immediately? Fans aren't going to like him. Fans aren't going to be happy with him. He's going to immediately start with, well, you just traded away our favorite player, our most valuable player. It's a really tough, almost lose-lose situation for the current owner, Artie Moreno, and whoever the new owner ends up being.
So I think the Angels have to be honest with themselves here, right? There's a lot of change seemingly on the horizon. New ownership. You have 1 year to show Mike Trout and Shohei Ohtani that you want to win. Specifically Shohei, because Trout's wrapped up. You have 1 year, right? And if the Angels aren't winning come the trade deadline, that's really your last chance to get anything for him. So you have a very narrow window because Shohei shouldn't be forced to stay there and to re-sign and give a hometown discount to a team that's not winning, right? So they need to figure it out. They have until the All-Star break, and I think I think they have to make a decision and be honest with themselves at that point. But the announcement already this offseason, the Angels are not trading Shohei, at least up to this point. So the offseason is off and running, and already we have some storylines to talk about and to share.